We're now going to take named views in viewports one step further. We've done it in the model space and it allows us to work effectively in the model space. What we're going to do now is create a completely new layout and place some new viewports in that layout, but utilize the named views. So let's go back to the Home tab. In our layer pull down here, we make sure we're on our viewports layer because we're going to create new viewports. And then what we're going to do, we're going to create a new layout. So I'm going to right click here on the A1 landscape GA. And why create a new viewport when you can copy an existing one? So we go to move or copy. I'm going to move it to the end and create a copy and OK it. So there's my A1 landscape GA2. So I'm going to click on it to make it the current layout first of all. I'm then going to right click and rename. And this is going to be A1 landscape and then it's going to be details 2. I'll delete the rest of it like so and then press enter to confirm. Make sure it is still your current layout like that. Now we've got the one viewport there, so I click on it and I'm going to delete it. So we've got a blank title block now. Now what we're going to do here is utilize our named views in the new viewports. We're then going to scale each of the viewports appropriately. So we're on our viewports layer, that's great. We go to our view tab again and we go here now to new viewport again like we did previously. I want 4 equal viewports here like so. Now this is where it gets a bit different because we've got viewport spacing in the 2D environment. That allows us a little bit of space between our viewports. We're on an A1 sheet size, so I'm going to go for 5mm there. The setup will be 2D because it's a 2D drawing. And then we click on the top left viewport here. I'm going to change that to GA. Top right viewport there, I'm going to change that to notes. Bottom left viewport, click on it, that'll be house. And bottom right will be summer house, like so. When I click on OK now, it prompts me to where I want to place those viewports. So I'm going to use my object snaps, left click, and drag all the way down here to this corner, left click. There's my viewports, but look, it's set up all of them using the named views. That's great, isn't it? That looks perfect. So what we're going to do there now is we're going to make sure that each of these viewports is set up appropriately. Now there's a viewport there. If I double click on it, there's a viewport there. Now what I do need to do there is just double click outside those viewports. And what I'm going to do is type regen, like so, just to make sure that everything's regenerated on the layout. And what I'm also going to do here is check by going to the Home tab to make sure that these are all on the viewports layer. Now obviously some of those aren't, so just always check that all your viewports are on the viewports layer. So I'm going to select all 4, click here, drag down and viewports like so. Now the reason I've done that is when we plot this drawing we don't want these blue boxes to appear. So what I'm going to do there now is change the layer settings here. First of all, make sure that the current layer is viewports, that's why they came in on a different layer. And secondly, in the Layer Properties Manager here, what I'm going to do now is go to All Layers, there's Viewports there, but check this little plotter symbol here. Make sure that it's got that little no entry sign. That way, when you do a plot, the Viewports layer will not plot on your drawing. So we've got our viewport set up there now. I'll just close the Layer Properties Manager. I double click in this viewport here. That's my GA with all the notes and everything. And it's at a weird number there down on the status bar, 0.09941 I think there. So I click, I'm going to go for 1 to 100. And that is now a recognised scale and it hasn't made much of a change, which is good. I click here on the notes viewport now. That's at 0.02. So if I try say 1 to 50 there, that's pretty perfect as well. I'll click here on the house viewport now. That's at 0.01. So let's try 1 to 10 there maybe. That's way too big. So let's try 1 to 20. Getting there slowly. Maybe try 1 to 40. That's pretty good. And then what I'll do is just pan that there. Now you'll notice I zoomed accidentally there with my mouse. Be careful when you zoom like that. it affects the viewport scale. So let's put that back to 1 to 40. That's ideal. Click on the summer house one here, 0.03, 0.04, so probably about 1 to 20 we'll get away with. A little bit too big, so let's try 1 to 30. Absolutely perfect. So these are now all recognized scales, but they're using our named views. So make sure you double click away from the viewports now. We've set the scales there. We don't want them to change. So what we do is we click 1, 2, 3, 4 viewports. We then right click on the mouse, display locked, and we say yes. That way no one can now accidentally double click inside that viewport and pan up and down. Look, I can't change the viewport magnification because the display is locked, even with the viewport active, by double clicking on it. It's a useful tool, that display locked. Get into the habit of using it. So what you've seen there is the benefit of named views in layout viewports, which are then set to appropriate scales and the display is locked. So those named views have saved me all the time there of zooming and panning around in the model space when the viewport's active to find the view that I want. So utilize your named views both in the model space and in the layout space in your scaled viewports.